The stage is Jimese Harkley. Jimese is the Philanthropy and Community Relations Manager at America's First Federal Credit Union in Birmingham, Alabama. Jimese will be presenting her Community First campaign project. Her project encompasses encourages credit unions to increase their contribution as a corporate citizen by engaging the employees in teamwork, fundraising, and community outreach activities. Come on up, Jimese.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, thank you to all of you all and to DDJ Meyer, Currency, and CUES for putting on this wonderful platform for young people, young professionals to get up and talk about innovative things. I'm 35, so I've kind of got one foot in and the other's on a banana peel. So this is my chance to really let you all see what I can do. So listening this morning in the general session, what I realized is I said, I'm going to get up there and say, I don't know. And there was about 60% of you all that agreed I was still a good person, so I'm going to ask you to stay there. But no, let me tell you a little bit of what I do know. What I do know is what the value is when you engage your employees and your membership in taking care of the communities in which you do business. It's one thing to put up a business and say, oh, we're here for free checking, we're here for these types of services, but what are you doing on the outside? And now with that being said, I'm probably a hindrance to my CEO because I see the social side of this like, oh, it's so fun, we got to do this, we got to do that. But I had to stop and think, and this contest is what made me do that. What's the business case for a reason why you need to have a strong strategy for your philanthropy? So I think it's really exciting that this is budgetary month for a lot of you all. So I know November to get up and come to a conference, which this is a very beautiful conference center. But you all are thinking about some things such as non-interest income. It's low. You're thinking about the data breaches and the plastic card fraud. And guess what? You got another EMV conversion coming. And you're also wondering about new technology. And the feds, they're going to raise the rate, just not now. So, it's one of those things, but there's nowhere in there for you, if you want to run a sound business, to really think about how can I increase my giving? Where does that money come from? So we have looked at a strategic philanthropic plan. And this plan is where your company takes into consideration what is the best thing for us? How do we partner with companies that make sense for us? How do we engage and get people motivated about what we do in the community? In most cases, your giving is kind of buried in your marketing budget. And it's a first come, first serve. Oh, I know you, I'll stroke this check. But it makes you put quantity over quality sometimes. And you think, what am I putting my name on? How do people know what we do? What message are we sending out? So I do fun things like sales sheets, barbecue fundraisers, all things that I did not sign up to work at America's First to do. But I do those things because we raise the money. This is how we make an impact without destroying our budget or taking some of those things away that I talked to you about that you're thinking about right now. And by doing that, we increased our giving by 57% over 2 years because we raised the money. And I'm not going to say every employee is kind of like, woo, when people see me coming, they really look down because they know I'm about to ask them to do something that they did not expect to do. But there are benefits to having a good strategy, that competitive advantage. Everybody has low-cost loans and free checking. But this is that competitive advantage for you to connect. Employee recruitment and retention and building opportunities for innovation. Those two things run hand in hand where employee engagement runs. You want younger members. You also want to have a younger workforce, so after you all have finished this race, there's somebody to hand it over to. And also building those mutually beneficial relationships with the community. That is important. And it also builds your brand. Now, as many of you all know, Edward Filene is a very revered man in the credit union movement. He's known as the father. And he said the credit union movement, it is a great movement worthy of great deeds, deserving of great loyalty. So today what I've done is, that's a blank picture. It's for you to insert your picture, and we're going to pretend that it's 100 years down the road, and your credit union is being discussed, but they're putting your picture there. You came to the helm of leadership in your organization to make a change. No one's going to remember that you saved money on EMV or you bought the new technology. They're not going to remember that. We learned that last night when we saw those Hall of Famers. What they're going to remember is the hours that you spent in the community, the money that you put forth to make sure that you were a part and not just there to do business. So I encourage you all to think, what is it going to be above your picture? What will that quote say? Again, I'm Jimese Harkley. Thank you all so much.
Terrific work. Terrific work. And lots of time for questions.
Ooh. Brevity is not my strong suit, so whoa.
Let's start with Brandon.
Great job, Jimese.
Thank you.
Great job. A question on asking your team to give to whatever foundation or whatever cause that you're. How do you prevent having the team feel tapped out all the time? You know, where you're coming back to them, and so how do you prevent that from happening?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm glad to have this platform to answer that. I change every year. I have committed to the fact that Community First will never look the same each year, because what ends up happening is our employees get set in, this is how we do it. And once you try to change someone's process, when they're engaged in that, this is how we do it, we pick 3 new charities each year. We find 3 different types of fundraisers to have each year. It's change, it's constantly evolving, so you can't get set in your ways.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Dee Dee.
Yeah, thank you, Jimese. Several questions here. I'm just going to pick one. So you had a list of the competitive advantages, 6 or 7 of those. And so what is the biggest obstacle in building mutually beneficial relationships in the community?
Well, it's this thing of when you're not out there, how do people know who you are? I serve on several boards, and I work with nonprofit organizations. So it makes it easy to make that phone call and shock them and say, I want to give you money. I've met these people. I've engaged with them, and I've realized, there are some situations, if the money's not being spent in Birmingham, Alabama, that to me says I need to step back and think about it, because that's where my membership is. So if I'm going to explain to them where the funds are going, I need to make sure that they're staying when research in Birmingham, Alabama. It's very important.
Tammy.
Nice job. Kind of building off Brandon's question, what have you done as an organization to continue to increase that participation? Like specific things. Give me 2 things.
I can tell you I personally beg. And that's why people don't look me in the eyes, really. But no, one of the things that we've done is we've gotten support from our CEO. And one of the biggest things that he has been proud of is creating buy-in and understanding that I kind of look at it like the wave. Have you ever noticed when the wave starts, there's a couple of people that get up, but as it goes around the stage, it continues to get bigger. So I don't expect everybody right now, but the biggest thing is the support from our CEO, and it's kind of trickling down. And so that's one thing that I'm really excited about, and we're going to keep pushing.
We have time for probably 1 or 2 more questions.
Oh, wow.
Dee Dee's
Did I
got
do
one.
this to myself?
No, you did it. You did.
All right, we're at the same conference, and it's 2030.
Okay.
And you're the Hall of Famer. What's above your picture?
Oh, wow. That's the one I will stop and think about, because I wear so many hats sometimes.
Best one.
But the best one would be that I believed in what I did, and I put people first. And I'm not known as Jimese Harkley most of the time. I'm the girl at America's First, and then it dwindles down to Jimese from America's First, and then finally people might even learn my last name. But what it would say is just I cared about people, and I bought into my organization that caring, and I tried to have it just shown from the outside.
I think that's a perfect place to stop. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.